Agada.
Biran Jagne.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la.
Ha, code ninja.
Okay. Korsa. Nsila ID soto.
Ha, sa soto. Sorry. Agada.
Biran bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara Allah service o tariaka. Mbare ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Janno yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbari ya bere. Birim koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato ni fo bolong blabe ko.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jam.
Ha?
Gambia kono ani Gambia bantala bankol. Nko kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo palindiro fo nyaadi lafta même na kodi to poto ni kodi maraw. Jannom number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wolam nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi mani domorol di fana betiat. Gambia dawda yalo ngam fa kendol sotale je.
Wo moy o diat ha.
Apelenta
baraka ni na lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bukani na ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Baraka.
Of owning your dream homes, EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
Hello and welcome to the brunch live on Kerr Fatou. I'm Lamin Cham and welcome once again to our weekly current affairs program that comes your way every Saturday at around this time. In the next 1.5 hours, I will be discussing with my eminent panelists current issues in or making headlines in the Gambia. Well, with me in the studio right away to do that is Bankole Yao Ahadzie is the leader of the Wato Sita movement, a presidential aspirant that you are already perhaps familiar with, but we will talk to him directly to talk to us more about himself, his movement and its objectives as the election for presidents draws near. Also in the studio, perhaps for the first time, is Dr. Biran Jagne. He is the leader of the All People's Party, APP. You must have heard of him too. He will tell us more about himself and his party's views and plans for the country, again, as we draw closer to the December elections. Well, I have Analyst, Commentator, Nyang Njie with me in the studio. He will help us go through all the issues we have discussed and perhaps help me put questions to the two gentlemen who are both leaders of their various movements aspiring to take State House in December. Well, one man who will not agree with them, of course, to take State House will be Mr. Mballow. Mr. Mballow is the presidential advisor and a member of President Barrow's National People's Party, NPP. Well, let me say Mr. Mballow, of course, will not agree for these two gentlemen to take State House. But first, let's cross over to, okay, let's say hi to each other first. Yes, Banky, as he is commonly known. Banky, you start the show first.
Yes, sir. My name is Bankole Yao Ahadzie, and the movement is Wato TJ, not
Wato TJ or Wato Sita. Well, that's more or less the same.
Yes, more or less.
When Wato Sita, I mean, Wato Maxi Kodeke, Wato TJ Kodeke. But Wato, yeah, to be accurate, Wato TJ.
Yes. So thanks for having me on your platform.
Good. Dr. Jagne.
Yes, my name is Biran Jagne, otherwise known as Biran Jagne. I'm, as you know, the leader of the All People's Party, Secretary General leader of All People's Party. Very grateful that you asked me to come and join this panelist. Thank you very much.
Nyang, welcome.
Well, thank you. I'm Nyang Njie, a Gambian, an economist, and a blogger.
Yes, Mr. Mballow, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cham, again for inviting me here to be part of the panelists that are going to discuss about the burning issues of the nation.
Good. Let's go straight to Banky. Banky and the Wato TJ movement. So everybody is now listening to West Coast must have been familiar with your famous jingle, which not only talk about a Rasta presidency, that must be, you said, in that jingle, but you also urge people to register in mass numbers, in large numbers. We will come to that now. Okay, let's catch up with the latest activities of Wato TJ. You have been silent. Apart from that jingle, I always listen to Radio West Coast. I have not heard much from you.
Yes, in the media I'm silent, but behind the scenes I'm going around. My campaign is different from the traditional parties. I go and sit at the street corners with the boys, and I have a dialogue with them. It's not just me preaching to them and then it's over. We sit down, we talk, they raise issues, they put me on the spot, I have to answer their questions. So it's been very useful to me. So I had my phone number on the billboard from day one, so people just call me randomly. We need you here, we need you there, I turn up. Right now I'm on a drive for nomination. We all know that we all need 5,000 voters cards. So whenever I go and talk to these people, I ask them to bring along their voters cards. If they're really supporters, let me take a photo of them and start preparing my 5,000 that I will require for IEC. So that's why you have not been seeing me in the media. Actually, why I've started coming back to the media is because it rains a lot these days. So I decided maybe people should see me on the screens and not in real life.
Now, okay, tell me your identification with the Rasta culture, so to speak. Does that work as an advantage or hindrance to you, given the culture and attitude of Gambians towards Rastafari? I mean, Some might think that maybe it may be, in one way, an advantage. You may be popular with people who embrace the culture, or some people in the Gambia. Maybe you can argue majority of people see Rasta people in another, way or so. So how did it work for you so far?
I think it's mostly positive. There is the negative, but we must remember that Gambia's population is largely young. And we have a different perception of the Rastafarian movement to our parents. It's not as bad as they told us. The story has started to change. So initially, all the people who were advising me before I came out were like, if you're serious about this, you need to cut your hair, you need to wear long trousers and do other things. I said, no, this is who I am, this is how I go to work. Maybe I should present myself as is and see whether Gambia is ready for change. So overall, it has been positive. I am deeply grateful that, I stayed true to myself. In some places where I go, people say we'll vote for you just because Yabatabi against Rastamani, the Fabari. Rasta president, Yabatabi didn't wanyaku. So at least some people are starting to identify themselves with the nation, with politics, and if I am the reason why they're doing that, then I think I've succeeded. Yeah.
Well, not long ago you raised issues. You said your supporters are allegedly subject to harassment by police simply because they have this feeble-minded view that anybody who is associated with Rasta probably smokes ganja. So they were targeting them allegedly for smoking ganja in open places, etc. And you raised issues about that. The police, however, denied that. They said they were looking for people who really, criminals who deal with drugs. What's been your reaction to that?
My reaction is that process opened my eyes a lot as to why. So you hear the stories. I don't smoke. I maybe look the part, but I don't smoke.
Yes.
And then when you talk to the boys on the street corner, they'll be like, anti-crime or drug squad came, raided us. We negotiated, we dropped 2,000, they let us go per individual. I didn't know that this was happening. But when they arrested Mustafa Asila, then I got to see what the law looks like. They charged him for possession and trafficking. And when we looked for a lawyer, it was 45,000 for bail application alone and 75,000 to fight the case. So I now understand why the boys negotiate with the security services. I now understand why when I went to Tujereng, it wasn't only the boys that were saying, let's legalize it. Their mothers were saying, let's legalize it. Why? Because they're tired of providing the money for bailing out their sons from their little gardens and other things that they're doing. So it has been an eye-opener to me. Yeah.
Okay, Nyang, probably you want to cross-examine, so to speak, before I go to it, on some of the things he's talked about.
Well, I think he has raised pertinent issues. The first pertinent issue is the Gambian demography has changed, and unfortunately, the Gambian politicians are not acquiescent with what the Gambian demography needs. Marijuana is the green gold, and if Gambia is smart as a nation, we will diversify our agricultural cash crop for exports. Make it still a controlled substance, but for export purposes, and it will turn our farmers from being poor farmers to farmers who can pay even university fees for their kids outside the Gambia. That's number one. Number two, the government of the Gambia is yet to understand that marijuana is not something that's criminal, but unfortunately, big tobacco in the days have used their lobby to make marijuana illegal, and now big tobacco once again is giving out money to lawmakers in the West to decriminalize marijuana. So pretty soon you will see marijuana sticks packaged in the Piccadilly, Prince and Benson, and unfortunately Gambia will just follow. Countries like Botswana, Uganda, Kenya, they're now beginning to export serious amounts of hemp and cannabis. Why? Because they call it a bushel. A bushel of corn in Kenya, they fetch nothing more than maybe a ton of corn, 1,500 pounds.
Shillings or so.
Yeah, and 1 kilo of marijuana, medical grade marijuana, fetches you 7,000 to 10,000 pounds. What is the logic? We are criminalizing people. And lastly, our criminal justice system, if you look at it, and you look at all the convictions in a year, 40% of them are drug related, and that 40%, 95% of them or more will be cannabis. So what it takes the state to feed these people that they have already criminalized doesn't make sense. So the state need to really look at its criminal laws, especially on marijuana, and also look in the correctional facility and also our correctional method, whether what we are doing is working. The reason drug abuse is so prevalent in Gambia is the lack of hope, lack of employment, and also lack of adequate preparation for the kids who are in schools to prepare them for what is after school. Because our school system doesn't teach life skills. And without life skills, no human being is ready for independence, financial or otherwise.
Good. Well, I know there are moral and other arguments against, legalizing marijuana. And Mr. Cham, medical doctor, before being a politician, will have a say on that. But first, yes, Dr. Jagne, let's talk about you and the APP. Then we will have your perspective on what Banki and Nyang has been talking about, especially in terms of, avoiding young people getting caught, by the law, and, the state spending a lot of resources, on things that could have been just a small, compared to other things, a trivial matter. So, since you returned from United Kingdom, when we were told that you are now the APP leader, taking over from Gumbo Toure, a lecturer who were the people who set up the party, the APP. We've not had much from you. What has been the APP doing?
Right. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little about what APP is. Okay. And to start with that, APP was not formed by an individual like most parties. APP was formed by a group of Gambians who were, since 2015, sitting around discussing about the problems of the country in 2015. They are Gambians, typically age 35 or less, in the country or in the diaspora. Most of them are technocrats. Most of them are well educated. So the party evolved. Gumo was not even there at the beginning. Gumo was consulted, and other Gambians of his caliber and experience were consulted, and they said, yeah, this is interesting. So come 2017, they realized they were working with a group called Task for Better Gambia. No party, just Task for Better Gambia. So they realized that this could be a political party. Then that's when they really started to think about forming a political party. By 2019, they came up with some 20 names, and they selected All People's Party. And the reason behind it is that all of those who are talking at the beginning were of all different ethnic groups. And they said, this is really what Gambia is. So they came up with the All People's Party. Now, they formed interim executive. Guma was the leader of the interim executive. I eventually joined the party in 2019. I was impressed by what they had written, and I said, oh, this is for me. And then I eventually was elected to be deputy interim party leader. When we went to Congress, our first national Congress, after registration, we went to Congress, and I was selected to be the party leader. And that's what. Now, we are unique in the sense that we are very concerned with the citizen, for the citizen. In what we say, askan big in your. So much so that when we decided to have our Congress, we had a room capacity, a hall capacity of 300. We made it 150 to keep social distancing. This was, when was it? February, March. Yeah. And that's because we want to keep social distancing. And we had sanitizers, we had masks for everyone. Now, I think this is what you really want to know, what we've been doing all the time. We've been stay away from rallies or big political meetings, because if you organize a rally, maybe 1,000, 2,000, you have to provide masks and sanitizers, and social distancing is a problem. So we have been doing more of what he has said, what Banki has said. We've been doing more on media as much as we can. Social media, WhatsApp, and the YouTube and Facebook. So that's what we are doing right now. And we also have been giving our flyers instead of billboards, big billboards. We can't afford that, but we have been passing out flyers, pictures to tell people who we are and what we are, what the party is all about.
Of course, it's obvious that you are going to put your name in the ballot box for December.
Yes.
So how your personal preparedness
Yes.
for that?
Well, it's interesting to note that I have all my life been in practicing medicine. But if I tell you about my background, you will say this has been the making, not of my choice, to be honest, because I never thought I'll be in politics. I went to MT school and graduated from Hermitage in 1969. I was school safer in 1969. I was selected the most outstanding student, and I was given a book entitled Great Expectation by Charles Dickens.
I know a character called Pip.
Yes, exactly.
Misa.
Yes. After Hermitage, I worked with the Chinese, the Taiwanese, and I was there for 6 months, and I was selected as being the one who's most focused, most competent, and I went to Taiwan for a seminar, short seminar. While there, I tried to, because I'm always ambitious to learn more. Gambia had no university at the time. I tried to stay there to study more. They said, no, if you're going to be a politician, in fact, they sent a delegate to the residence and interviewed me. If I was going to be, I said, no, I have no plan in politics. I want to study agricultural science or medicine. To make it short, I returned home after the seminar. I was the one who was repairing their power tillers. I became very vast and knowledgeable in rice cultivation, irrigation system of the method that the Chinese were using. Then I decided that I had to go abroad to study. And that's how I found myself in Spain. I had no Spanish knowledge. I had to do all my high school studies again in Spain, in Spanish. But something curious happened. I passed the medical school examination entrance and entered medical school. I spent 6 years in Spain struggling to study because the Spanish government were giving a stipend because not enough. So, but I was struggling. Anyway, the most curious thing about my situation in Spain, besides having medical training, I found out who I was. Probably it's because I was the first time in my life I was in an environment of Europeans. Africans were there, that might be. But I got curious of how Africans have become to be what they are. So I started wondering, and I started reading books like Frank Fanon, Richard of the Earth. Then I started reading books about the life of Patrick Lumumba. I started reading books written by Kwame Nkrumah. He was still alive at that time. I even read books on Mao. I read a book by Sheikh Anta Diop, The Origin of African Civilization. Here is a medical student reading all these books. And people ask, why are you reading books? I had no idea. I was just curious of who I am, who is an African, why are we like this? I also read the most, I think this is the book that has, besides Frank Fanon and his book, Richard of the Earth, and also Life of Patrick Lumumba, Susan George wrote a book called How the Other Half Dies. That was the bombshell. In that book, it tells you how the advanced world how the third world is not having a level playing field with the rest of the world. We are dying because the advanced world, the modern world is not helping. It's not going to help. They want us to remain what we are. And that book really opened my mind. And I said to myself, nah, I'm not for politics. Make it short. I left Spain, went to the United States. I struggled to go to medical school. First did biomedical aerospace technician. Then I did car diploma technologies to have something to be able to pay my education. Then I went to medical school. I went to Emory University, graduated. The first thing I did, I went back to specialize in emergency medicine because we didn't have any emergency medicine doctors here. So I left right away. I remembered my colleagues were telling me, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? Eventually, actually, I was the city of Los Angeles and the University of Southern California gave me the most prestigious award. They call it Red Blanket Award. It's an association of emergency medical doctors under the University of Southern California. But I left right away. Lord and behold, I was not going to work here. Saudi Arabia saw me and somewhere saw my CV and took me. And I unfortunately got to Saudi Arabia, the Gulf War, first Gulf War started. I was taken to the front line. So I was building my experience. Then I came back here after the first Gulf War. I said, I have to stay. My father's where I can go. I got hired by the government. I was working at the RVH. I found Dr. Jones, who was the chief surgeon.
Aldrich Jones.
Yes, chief surgeon. So we really built the present accident emergency. I remember when the Pope came here, I was the one on call. In fact, I was the one in the emergency room, just in case something happened. So this emergency room was built by me and Dr. Jones. I decided I didn't have enough training. I wanted to study more. I went back, did a PhD, and my thesis was malaria. All things, yes, malaria. Why are we having this? resistant strains and what we're going to do about it. So I finished my PhD. I came for a holiday. My father passed away. I came. And then I found that the village had a clinic that was supposed to be a health center. Lamin village. But the health center issue was hijacked by the Caliph Banjul. For some reason, I don't know what happened. Politics. So Lamin had a building. The villagers had constructed a building during Jawara's government, PPP. The government told him, we cannot provide anything for you. So what they did, they give them the minimum, or the maximum they could probably give. The health center staff at Banjul were coming every fortnight to Lamin and just running wheelchair and prenatal. That's it. Wheelchair care, inoculations, and then that's it. And then the prenatal for women. So I decided that I was going to come home. Before I left again, I started. I built up an NGO, and then I went back to the States. During that period, I completed my PhD, and then also started recruiting American doctors who want to volunteer. That's how we had the Lamin Village Health Center started in 1994. People were paying $25. When you come, you get your screening, you got to see a doctor, and you get all your medication for $25.
Wow.
People are saying, are you rich? I said, no, I use my own money. I'm not rich, I'm just a concerned citizen. I mean, I wasn't born there, but my mother took me to that clinic. So I was paying back to that community. And I did that up to about 2006. A lot of things happened. I could tell you, during that period, 3 political parties approached me. They said, you are famous. You want to? I said, no, I'm not. Politics is not me. I don't want to be in politics. Even the Jammeh government in about 2018, about 2000. 1997, Jammeh came. They was very impressed. He gave me a brand new ambulance after he wanted to give me an air condition because I saw hot. I said, no, I don't need air condition for myself. But if you give me an ambulance, I'll take it. So he gave me an ambulance. And then a few months later, the APRC youth came and tried to tell me, oh, Jammeh is interested in you. And he organized a political rally in Lamin, wanted me to sit by his side. I said, no, I'm not for politics. I don't want to mess with politics. So I stayed away. So that's briefly who I am. If you ask why I'm in politics now.
Yes, which is naturally that's my question. After
I believe the Greek philosopher, what he said is right. And that is, if you allow the fools, if the wise men keep away from government, the fools run the country. And that has been happening. We need to have a technocrat at the apex. We need to have technocrats who are content. Like me, if I wanted to be rich, if I want to, like Gumbo, we would stay abroad. I have a green card since 1980. I refuse to be American. Core in me is Gambian, African. Since 1980, I have a green card. And I refuse to be American. I can easily go back to UK, because I've worked there for 12 years. I've worked in Afghanistan, even. I've worked in Saudi Arabia. And I know if I put my CV anywhere, I'll be employed. I can go back to the States. But we need Gambians who have this experience, who are dedicated to the welfare of this country, who are not coming to feed their own pockets, who are not nepoty, who are going to look around, take my cousin, my aunt, my nephew, to give them jobs. They're going to look for the right people for the right job. A Gambian who is going to stop corruption. Our society needs reorientation. What happened to China? What happened to Singapore? China had to have reorientation of their people. I don't have to tell you. The time that Gambia was having independence, the Chinese were starving. They were starving. Singapore was on the same footing as China. But the president who took over, he said they organized and looked for the best brains. And they make sure you're not corrupt. The first minister who was alleged to be corrupt, and what he did was just invited. This is Singapore. Invited to attend a dinner. He was arrested and put in jail. That's what corruption is. Bribery. If they come to give you a favor, if you are in the position, you are being bribed. What did Mao do? It was a very bad. It's not a very bad. It's a sad situation. Cultural revolution. A lot of people died. Gambia could have a cultural revolution, not like the Chinese. But Gambian people need to reorient themselves. Let me tell you one thing. What I have been saying, and I'm going to say it here. People tell me, hey, doctor, you're saying too much. I say, why? If you don't win, or someone's going to take your ideas and use it, I say, perfect. Even if I don't win, someone takes it, he uses it for the country, because we are in the same boat. That's why I am. People have told me, don't talk about this. I've said, listen, I don't care. Let them take my ideas. Even if I don't win, let them use it. Okay. That's what we are all about. So that's who I am.
Well, you want to check it before we come to Mr. Mballow?
Well, I think he has said a lot, and basically Plato once said, if you refuse to partake in politics, you will be ruled by your inferiors, and inferiors not because of bloodline or anything else, but intellectual capacity. And President Biden, when he was candidate Biden, said, if you're in public office to make money, then you're not ready to be a public servant. But unfortunately in the Gambia, from 65 to date, we have seen that 80% of people who want to serve us want us to be used for their personal interests, like the Wolofs will say, Segalen ma warlen. So it's rather unfortunate. Absolutely. So the cultural revolution we need, I think, is a must for us to kickstart the much needed transformation that this country needs.
Absolutely.
Business as usual, 1965 to Adama Barrow's government, is the same. The only thing that has changed are the players that manned the positions. But the cultural orientation is still subservient, meaning the people that should be served are the ones who are serving the ones who should serve them.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need to change.
Okay.
All these people getting into politics, or majority of them, and the ones in power today, they have bettered their lives at your expense, my expense, his expense, and even the expense of generations of Gambians yet unborn. And that's shameful and immoral.
Mr. Mballow, first of all, what are your perspectives about the Wato TJ movement? Banki has talked about, how he had been able to engage people, whom we normally feel that it's taboo to associate with them, and, galvanize them, getting them to be interested in the way their government is run. He talked about all the incidents personally he witnessed that motivated him to, sacrifice whatever comfort he may have with all the knowledge and experience to come and join politics, because he said, we need those ideas, or even governments such as yours need those ideas to run the country. You happen to be in a very privileged position today. I mean, very close to the president, and in the government of the day. All these people feel that they have better ideas. Do you agree?
Mr. Cham, thank you very much for giving me the chance, and I thank my fellow Bankole and Biran Jagne and Nyang Njie for being part of this discussion today.
Sure.
Thank you. This is what we expect when we have a democratic environment. What we are doing here, and I don't think anybody will object to anybody who said something here, or who say you are the best man in Gambia, or you are the best educated man in Gambia. Nobody would object to that. But however, Gambian people are very intelligent people, despite the fact that majority of them are not educated, but they are not fools. They know what they want. They know the people whom they can put in power and bring about peace, tranquility, and development in this country. For first, I would dwell on Mr. Banki. I am very happy to see somebody, a gentleman like him, who has come up with a new thing. And this Rasta thing, he has said something here. We don't want discrimination. This government, that is among the priorities that we are fighting: discrimination, tribalism, and nepotism. This government is trying to. We know it is not easy to eradicate it at one go, but we will try. We are trying to encourage freedom of speech, freedom of the media, freedom of movement, and the freedom of association. That's our priority. And now what is happening in the country is a clear manifestation that the Gambians are free. Today, even somebody who is in the DACA, what we call the DACA, can come out and say, I'm forming my party. Nobody will stop him. Nobody will condemn him. What he is doing, I encourage it. He is doing the right thing. Nobody is better than the other. Whether you are in New York, whether you are in Tamba Sansa, whether you are in Sare Samba, we are all human beings and we are all equal. Whether you go there in the beach, at the beach, and do what you want to do, or you are there in your mansion, you are all human beings actually. So what he is doing to make sure that he encourages the youth to come out and show what they feel that they can also they have a part to contribute in our democratization process in this country. I would definitely welcome it, and he's doing the right.
What do you make of his suggestion that people who are Rasta should not be treated by the government or law enforcement as people who are just criminals in nature? And young buttress.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that. I don't think whether there is any single incident whereby somebody during this present government people have been arrested because they have Rasta.
No,
if there is any, let him tell me that police went on and arrested somebody because he has Rasta on his.
By and like that.
I'd like to interject. Then you continue.
No, I will come. I'll come to you. Yes. You mean nobody is going to be just by wearing Rasta hair get arrested for that?
Arrested. I think those whom the police are going after are the people that they should go after. That is the people who are suspected of involving themselves in drug dealings, or people who have been suspected of committing crimes. And that is worldwide. Yeah. That is in our books. That is in our book, not only here, worldwide. That is the responsibility of police enforcement to make sure that even if you are a minister or a millionaire, if they suspect you, they have the right to stop you and question you. And then if you are found innocent, then they let you go. But if you are found guilty, for that nobody should blame. I don't think whether the police should be blamed in doing their job.
As advisor, would you advise the president, to some of the suggestions he said that okay, perhaps, and buttressed by Nyang Njie, perhaps what we should do is to work on legalizing marijuana, not just for Banki argued for medicinal purposes, and Nyang said for economic purposes, stuff like that. Do you think, in your view, that is a good idea?
Well, that is subjected to analysis and research. Not only the Gambia, even in the United States. Until today, marijuana is not allowed in certain states. They have started legalizing it in certain states, but not in the whole of the United States. So if advanced countries like United States are still now, they still now ban marijuana, how about third world countries? Gambia is not an exception. We cannot just get up one day and say we are legalizing marijuana. It is bound to be, to be discussed. What we are doing here, people come up with their ideas, the youths come up, and also the patients and doctors would come and tell us, patient X had this problem, and then I was only able to control his pain or so and so because of marijuana that I injected in that patient. Then people will say, hey, that's what happened in the United States. Why not we consider allowing marijuana to be used even in a certain quantity, even where it's not going to be a large quantity, it should be controlled. There should be certain pharmaceutical stores that should be allowed to be dealing with that. That is how it goes. You cannot just allow and say, a nation, you say, we are legalizing things.
Oh, that would be trouble.
That would be trouble. People will abuse it. It will be abuse. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we should not put it into consideration, but what I'm saying is the government will do the right thing as other governments are doing to make sure that they listen to researchers, medical researchers, scientists, doctors who are dealing with this thing. I mean, specifically. So that's my answer on that.
Basically, what about the APP, the All People's Congress? The doctor cited incidences, personal experiences, and discussions with prominent Gambians who felt that, we have to go. Some of us who are blessed to have some degree of knowledge in one field or the other, we should not shy away from politics, because otherwise we will have people running the country. And according to him, that is what is happening now with your government, people running the government who doesn't have an idea of what it takes to run a government. I'm sure you will not agree with that.
I disagree with Doctor, although I welcome his participation in the political in our political process. I think it's a good thing for him to head the APP party. I think that is very good, because government alone, let me tell you, government alone cannot do it. And not only that, government need to be monitored. Opposition is very important. Whoever tells you we hate opposition, he doesn't know what democracy is. Sometimes government do those certain things they correct it because of the criticism that they receive from opposition. They would
And he is very generous with his ideas.
They go up to a certain level and the opposition criticizes it. They said they would tell them, listen, we should have done it this way instead of this way. We should have received, we will receive positive results, and the government will stop. Can you recall how many times the government made certain moves because of criticism? We backtracked, like the Tobaski. We gave one more. 1 day.
Yeah.
It's because of criticism that people drew our attention.
Then you have to do it.
If there was no opposition, if it was a dictator here, dictatorship, who will talk?
Nobody.
In the past, who will talk?
Nobody.
A president declared tomorrow is the prayer. Whether you like it or not, you will go and pray. So thank God to this, the type of democracy that we are trying to nurture. Let me tell you, this is the foundation. President Adam Barrow is building this foundation, and he alone cannot build it. He said it. It takes MP, APP, PPP, Mr. Bankole party, other parties. They bring in the people whom he feels they are left out, what their ideas or what they want to be done. We include them, and we move our nation. We have a better nation. This is what
it would be fair to pass on to another topic without you talking about your party, because both of them talk about their parties. What is the latest with the NPP, particularly your supposed negotiations with the APRC? I mean, many people think that it's only out of perhaps desperation that you are embracing APRC. And you cannot even deliver some of the conditions they lay for your discussions. But then, of course, it must be said nothing has been agreed yet. How far have you progressed with that?
Well, with the APRC, like any political party here, Mr. Cham, the NPP is open to all political parties.
Even UDP?
Even UDP, if they want, they can come. I will say it here. If they want to join and support the agenda of His Excellency President Adam Barrow and the NPP, honestly, they are welcome. Let them join us. We move the country forward.
Okay.
That's no problem. Yeah. So for APRC also, just for APRC, they are a registered political party here and they are citizens. Mr. Cham, we have to make that very clear, quite clear. I have heard so many criticisms about APRC. Some of them are joining this thing. They are.
You yourself was very harsh critic of the APRC regime.
I was very harsh.
What has changed?
I was very harsh.
What has changed now?
Let me tell you. Okay, that's good. I was very harsh. For 20 years, I have been fighting.
Yes.
Not fighting the APRC per se.
Yeah,
the civilian.
The
woman who is in Kanila, the woman who is in Sibano,
the
woman who is in Brikama.
Yeah, but the leadership
supporting APRC. I was against
the leadership.
The system of dictatorship.
Okay.
That is training junglers to go and adopt people in their houses at night, arresting people, adopting people on illegal without bringing them before the courts.
Okay.
This was the system that I was fighting. And I thought Gambia deserves something better than that. We should be a civilized nation. We should be among the civilized countries. That was what I was fighting. But I never fought people who support APRC like Fabakari, an ordinary man. Who has no knife, he has never stabbed anybody, who has never beaten anybody. He's a citizen, he's paying taxes, like how President Adam Barrow is paying taxes. Those supporting APRC are paying taxes, how Mballow is paying taxes. Why should they be denied from participating or aligning, associating?
The trouble now is the APRC are demanding that you embrace or give a soft landing to that system that you fought against it. That's one of their conditions. So if you talk to them on that basis, you are inviting back what you have fought against, isn't it?
They are not in control. They were in control of the system.
But they said
the leader. Their leader is no longer participating in our democracy.
But they said they wanted him back before December.
But didn't you hear things are changing? Didn't you hear their latest interview?
Yes,
they are saying that they are going to support. If you support President Adam Barrow, if you are in APRC and you said you will support President Adam Barrow presidency 2021, don't you think that the person has abandoned his support for his former boss candidature?
But they said they are doing so because they want him to bring Jammeh back.
Jammeh back, but when?
Mr. Cham.
All right. So
no, wait.
They
Jammeh to come back.
They said December. I must say that not long ago.
I have not seen any statement. Let me tell you. Me, I believe in something that is in black and white and evidence.
No agreement has been reached so far.
I have not seen anywhere where APRC said this or that.
Okay, I am
here is through the media. Reports.
Social media also.
From the social media and from the reports and what they are saying. So far, I cannot tell you that I have laid my hands on the demand of the APRC. I have not seen that.
Okay. And it's important to know that the government last week came out with a statement, rebuffing any reports, particularly that Atlantic newspaper in Guinea said President Barrow went there to talk with, Alpha Conde, and then the product was so-called Malabo agreement, which suggested Jammeh will come back to pay condolences to his. The government was quick in dispelling that. So
that never existed. We cannot stop people from rumoring. Yeah. We cannot stop Gambians from speculating. It happens all over. But what we are guiding is we want to make sure that whatever we are doing is done on the basis of principles and on the basis of agreement, tangible agreement that Gambian people can see and trust. But just somebody to get up and say anything, we cannot stop that. Somebody can go to Serekunda today, Serekunda market, and tell you that Adama Barrow went and ate Nyankatang in Kanilai. Can you stop them?
No.
Well, that's their freedom. That's why we fought. That's why we were fighting. We want people to talk. But whether what they are talking makes sense or not.
APRC officials, at least one of them, confirmed that either the government or President Barrow has given them 7 vehicles back. You're aware of that? Was that part of the NPP agreement?
I saw that on the social media. I was not part of it. I have not seen that written anywhere, black and white, yet.
Well, Duru Jari, deputy spokesman, said it happened.
That's what I said. I said a lot of things. I have been hearing updates, statements on the social media. But for it to come tangible, to become evidently seen and written, I have not seen it. If you see it, forward it to me. I have not seen that.
Now, how is the NPP doing now in terms of, campaign week? But you were with the president when he was laying foundations. Imams and Al-Kalolu were invited at State House. Your critics said you were involved in people who shouldn't have been in politics.
Well, let me tell you. Although I was not there, but it's a good thing to do. We don't.
Al-Kalolu is supposed not to be in politics.
We don't. They were not in politics. These chiefs, the imams. They were not politicians. They are not. That was not a political rally avenue.
But the president told him
at
to
the
support
State House.
He told him to support him.
Yeah, that's what, support and go and campaign is different.
He said you have influence.
Support me.
He told Al-Kalo, Eddie, Imam, you have influence, so I want you to support. He's basically asking them to support him politically.
Don't Lawyer Dabo, don't Mr. Jagne have the right to tell Imam, can I come and support me? Is that illegal?
But he shouldn't do that at State
Whether
House.
they will do it or not, it is left to them.
But he did that at State House.
Come and support me.
But he did that at State House.
Because that's his residence. They came and found him
that
there.
That is not his political rally. Okay.
That's not a political rally.
Okay, we will
let us not. That's different. Let us differentiate. Somebody meeting you in your place. You understand, in your residence, to come and say, as the leader of this country, we the Imam are here to pay a courtesy call to you to say that we are happy with the way you are governing the country.
But you talk politics with them?
Who called them?
They were called. The Imams didn't organize
we'll
themselves.
Who called them?
Come on.
Tell me who called them. Nobody called them.
We'll talk about
Can it be random?
This is what I'm saying. He said they were called.
Yeah, 1 minute.
He cannot tell us.
1 minute, Nyang. Let me go over to
Nyang cannot tell us.
No, allow me. No, Mr. Cham, allow me.
He said they were called.
All right,
who called them?
Allow me.
Let's listen to
the Imams don't have an organization that's district-wide. Talk more. I'm not talking about Supreme Islamic Council. I'm talking about.
Of course.
I'm talking about Zawiyas. Allow me here.
Let's talk about it.
There was a coordinated and concerted effort run by a machinery to get those Imams there.
No.
But I want to come first. A Greek philosopher.
Let
A said politics is the second oldest profession apart from prostitution. And in Gambia, there is what you call convenient apologist. What is a convenient apologist? We all knew and still know what APRC represent. It was, and it's still an instrument of repression. What is an instrument of repression? Gambia was changed to an Islamic republic because people at the parliament voted. And who were those people? APRC members of parliament, number one. Most of our laws were changed, and that's why our constitution has been butchered several times to suit the needs of one or two people to perpetuate their power. We know that Gambians went missing, and APRC is complaining about the TRRC process. We knew that people were killed, people had enforced disappearances, yet still backed by a political machinery called APRC. So, yes, the president and his team, and they have the right to go ahead and mix with them, but there is what you call morality and conscience. And it's very unconscionable. The very people who subjugated and abrogated the rights of the Gambian to be strange bedfellows with the people we fought and put in that office today. I detest that in the strongest terms, number one. Number two, I want to do a fact check about what you said with regards to marijuana. The federal government of the United States has decriminalized marijuana, number one. Number two, some of the people who have been sentenced for possession, they have wiped that off their records.
But some states,
federal. I'm talking about federal government. Allow me. The United States Congress.
The Rockers Island. Till now, they are giving them a Gambian.
Allow me. Those people, there's a difference between possession and trafficking. You need to understand the law so that you will understand. I am saying the federal government of the United States, by way of the United States Congress, have passed a law to decriminalize marijuana and also take off the records of people for a time period that were sentenced or they just have on their record possession of marijuana because of their employability. It affects them. So they have done that. Let me finish. Allow me. I gave you the floor.
How long have they been jailing people? It's a process. That's why I said this is a process.
Allow
what he's bringing, he's going to bring a
Mr.
case.
Mballow,
okay,
allow me to finish.
Go ahead, finish.
So that's one. Secondly, you said that your party, your government is doing everything to stop tribalism. It is rather unfortunate that you watch GRTS. The president has received the Manjago community. The president has received the Mauritanian community. You cannot fight tribalism by further dividing a group of people that should be called Gambians and Gambians alone. No further nomenclature or anecdote, purely Gambians. The president should stop meeting groups by tribal orientation. Meet plumbers, meet tilers, meet electricians, meet doctors, meet nurses, meet accountants, not a tribe. Then you can tell me you're fighting tribalism. You are propagating tribalism, and it is a shame that what we suffered, the social fabric of this country has disintegrated because of tribal lines. We expected that this government should come and transform what we suffered through, but no. It is a politic of divide and rule that kept them in power, and yet still it's being perpetuated today, unfortunately.
Dr. Jan, Mr. Mballow has been talking about particularly one particular thing is, I mean, you as APP, of course, you are free to ally with any political party of your choice, having had or followed the activities of political parties. His party, the NPP, confirmed that they're in talks with the APRC. That's the party of former President Jammeh. People are worried, people who are not necessarily APRC, UDP or DOI, ordinary Gambians who really didn't like Jammeh's way of doing things. They are anxious that this government may be embracing Jammeh back in one sort or the other for political gains or looking for political.
Right.
Would you have allied with the APRC?
Never.
Why?
Never. Why? Because as my good friend, brother here has just expressed in the most fabulous and explicit way why we shouldn't have APRC and Jammeh run this country again. I mean, I cannot add anything to that. He said it all. But I want to elaborate. There's one thing, and he has mentioned it, this tribalism. Every Gambian knows a Manjago would marry a Jola, a Flo would marry a Wolof, a Wolof would marry a Mandinka, a Manika would marry a Syrir. And that's what makes families. So Gambia is one unique family of one person. Anyone trying to perpetuate ethnic rivalry or tribalism, you are doomed. You are not going to win the elections by asking one tribe to vote for you. It won't work. It won't work because we all tribes. I mean, Jammeh was an example. If he was a Jola, he wasn't winning the election because of the Jolas only. He was being voted by everyone because his agenda at the beginning.
In fact, he got more votes from other tribes.
Exactly. That after that being said, this thing of having many political parties, I welcome him wholeheartedly. We have 18 or 19 political parties. That's what democracy is. Any Gambian who has an agenda that I can do something better, you're free to come and register and contest the presidency. But if you ask all the political party leaders or the political militants, we want three things, and that's in our coat of arms: peace, progress, and prosperity. That's it. But it's the way to get there. I tell you, if APP government comes to power, the most important thing we're going to do, the most important thing, we're going to make sure Gambia export rice. We're going to make sure we have enough kus, enough sorghum, enough maize, enough vegetables to eat. We're going to stop importing oil. The Gambia should have done this maybe 1970. I was with the Taiwanese, and I know what went wrong. The Jawara government had no plan B. It really comes down to what I call the imperial foreign aid syndrome. Another thing I call post-colonial traumatic stress disorder. What happened to the African? What happened to the African hasn't happened any race. No people has. It's pathetic. And our own people, our own politicians are still lying, cheating, dishonest, and filling their pockets, forgetting about the people. That's the problem of this country. We are nepotic, we are corrupt to the core. We are corrupt to the core. This is the problem of Africa. If APP government comes to place, I guarantee you, within 3 years, we're going to export rice. We're going to feed the Gambians the best quality of rice. The rice we eat in this country is the worst. It's not fit for consumption. It's not fit for consumption. Why do we have this high incidence now of high blood pressure, diabetes, even cancer? We are eating what we don't know. The oil we are using is not good quality. Maybe quality, but not good quality. Why do we have to export our groundnuts? Why? Why can't we rehabilitate the sorrow mill and eat and produce the oil and eat what we produce? You see, if we stop spending all those, I think, millions of dollars, because we don't buy food up from abroad with dollars. If all that dollars stay in this country, there's enough money, all right, to have a national service health scheme with each Gambian been giving free health insurance like the one in the United Kingdom, where all the doctors are well paid, nurses are well paid, equipment, hospital is well equipped, and no one will go to Dhaka or fly out of this country. We have the doctors who trained equally like any other doctor in the world. All right? We can have a system where two or three skill training centers, national skill training centers are located in all regions, where you get the Gambian, whether he's from madrasa, whether he's from primary school, it doesn't matter. Let's have some education. Once we learn how to have a skill, put him there, give him an incentive to stay there, all right? Teach him business. He graduates his skill, interest-free loan, payable maybe 20 years, easily. And not only that, we associate him with a business partner who will make sure he doesn't fail. That's what will stop the back way. The security, I'm going to say everything now because this is opportunity I have. Sure. The security, we had a period of people being killed, robbed, everything, and it's still going on. What's the National Guard? First of all, we don't have a National Guard. The situation wasn't a National Guard issue. The situation is reinforced police, number one. Do you expect a policeman to do his job if you pay him $2,000, $3,000 a month? Do you expect that? Yeah. Do you expect a policeman, if he comes to witness a crime and the man pulls a knife, he's going to stand there? He might run, he might stand there and get hurt, like the ones we had when attacked the immigration. Yeah, exactly. They had nothing. Why can they give them motorcycles, so easy access instead of vehicles, because they're expensive, number one. Number two, why don't they give them tasers? You know what a taser is? Yeah, I know. Electric shock, it stops you. You don't have to get a gun.
A taser can do
exactly. So the basic things, you see, as he rightfully said, and I said earlier, the Gambian people need to orient themselves. You get in the traffic, people stop right at the junction, dropping passengers. They don't understand. You endanger yourself, your vehicle, and the passengers. And they're blocking the traffic. There are so many issues in this country. This country is going downhill. It's going backwards. Backwards. We are going backwards very fast. We need someone, an exemplary leader, and that's in the APP. We are people who are going to make ourselves examples to people. Okay. Examples.
Good.
That's a point.
Yes, let's clarify.
Yes, I have had, it is easy to say, but difficult to be done.
Not when you have the way we know.
Let's hear you.
Every politician, these are the normal slogan of politician. If I come to power, I'll make this place Singapore. If I come to power, I'll make this place New York. But will you be able to do it? It's a process. We are doing. This country should be blessed. Should thank God that we have a leader like His Excellency President Adama Barrow today.
Who is able to do what he promised.
Who is able to reconcile the Gambian people.
And
the Gambian people are united.
And keep the
and at the same time, the development process is on. Look at the roads network that we are having. URR for 100 years. URR.
Yeah. The thing about URR.
It was even, you take one day, whole day, 24 hours to go to Diabugu from Basi, or to go to Bajakunda. Today is a matter of minutes.
Exactly, that's true. But then,
the ambulance will pick somebody now, today, from Bajakunda. It will take you less than 10 minutes. You are in the health center in Basi.
Unfortunately, that's not why he was elected.
It's a process. Look at it. Now, if you say a president is not elected to upgrade, to uplift,
can I? You've lost the script, my brother.
Mr. Cham.
My brother, you've lost the script.
I don't think he is just opposing. No, because every leader is what Mr.
You've lost the script.
Okay, listen, Mr. Jan.
There was a purpose of his election.
Mr. Jan just said that he is going to improve the living conditions, and he never condemned it. Now I am saying that a leader Barrow has improved. He said he's not elected.
He was a transitional leader.
Let's hear from Banky.
He should not do any development.
We heard from presidential advisor, Nyang Njie and Dr. Jan about all the elaborate policies he has in the APP that President Barrow and his advisors don't have. But then, of course, to agree with you, I mean, all these plans were good, but what do you I don't know now. How will you go about this?
How will I go about what?
Yes,
No, I mean, I also have a manifesto and I have 10 points. But
okay, let's go ahead, yes.
I mean, it sounds more or less like what other people are saying. So I don't think we're disputing that we want, as he said, peace, progress, and prosperity. What we're saying is, how are we getting there? I think what I'm bringing to the table is that I'm bold enough to try radical ideas. He's saying we should sit down and discuss it. The whole world is moving. We'll be the last people to the party. When the price of cannabis is the price of peanuts, is when Gambia would legalize it for economic, medical, or any other reasons. That is what I'm trying to avoid. I saw the debate where Mr. Salah was asking Dr. Cisse, how will you fund it? You want bonds, but that is still a loan. And he couldn't come up with an answer. But like Nyang Njie is saying, this is green gold, or it has the potential to be green gold. Why everybody, because of the way we were raised, is in denial, I don't know. I know that Nyang Njie has mentioned it a lot of times. I think the only difference between me and him is that I'm on a political platform and I happen to have dreadlocks. Maybe that's why. But it made sense from day one. It made sense from day one. So I have a 10-point agenda, manifesto. Exactly. People don't care about that. People support me basically because of cannabis. People are against me basically because of cannabis. Your first question was cannabis. Yes. So, I mean, I have friends that say you need to stop talking about cannabis. Talk about digital Gambia. You're a developer, you're a software developer. Talk about these things.
You made a famous $1 billion investment. Is it in sports?
In sports, yeah.
And perhaps more importantly, you said you were on for only one term president.
Yes.
You know, you see, Mr. Mballow would not agree with that. But let's why do you think that's necessary? Because people might think that's too short. Mr. Mballow, for example, was supposed to go for 3 years. He said that was too short. Because he had not finished things. Now 5 years thinking of...
No, it's because of the constitution. The constitution, there is nowhere stipulated that...
Good, I agree. I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that.
Anybody can step down and don't contest.
You step down because of reasons. If there are reasons that call for that, there was no reason that called for stepping down.
He's saying in future, he want the constitution to restrict every president to one term. So why do you say that? Because people might think that's...
One term?
Yes, that's what he said. So let's listen to him. You might have some ideas to get to Mr. Barrow, eh?
Yes.
So, okay, number one, what politicians tell you is, I've started the work, allow me to continue. Yes, I've started building this road, let me finish. I've started building this hospital, let me finish. I have what I call national development by us for us, where I'm saying it's the citizenry that should decide what they want in terms of development. And I've said, let's take 25% of the budget and divide it across voters. Only people who vote, because they have a say in how the country is run. If you didn't vote, then you don't really care. So I gave the example that in 2020 the budget was 20 billion and 1/4 of that is 5 billion. If we assume 1 million voters, just for easy division, it's about 5,000 per voter. So if you give everybody a voucher of 5,000 and we have to sit down as a community, whichever region, whichever constituent, whichever locality you're in, you want a road, you want a school, you want a hospital, whatever you want is in millions of dollars. But you now have to convince Mr. Jai, Nyang Njie, Mr. Mballow that this year the water is most important. It's 5 million. So maybe 1,000 of us with $5,000 is 5 million. If we put our money together and tell government this is what we want, then the people have spoken. For me, I have not seen anybody else doing it that way. Development is usually top down. You bring some advisor that gives you a development plan that says this is the way we have to do it. I think the people living in the communities know their problems more than some expert, consultant that has come through to say these are your problems and this is how to fix it. And this is how Africa has been doing things forever. 1 + 1 is always 2. If you don't change the left side of the equation, the right side will never change. So if people are now in control of their development, we don't need a president that is saying, allow me to continue. It's no longer his development plan. It's the people's development plan.
So whoever comes can take
Yes, you're just there for the 5 years overseeing those projects as they go along. And then somebody else comes and sits. So it's a radical new way of looking at things. But this overstaying is what is bringing so many problems. So let's give everybody a chance.
But Banky, there's a reason for the overstay. You see, development or nation building is a continuum. It never stops.
Good.
He will do his part, someone else. The reason why they want to prolong their stay, because they dirty their hands. So they want protection.
Absolutely.
And this protection is longevity that will give it to them in their minds.
Absolutely.
You look at Senegal, Macky knows it's time for him to leave, but he knows he is as bad as a moon tiger in terms of crookedness. So he is now looking for first option, him to have a third term. If it fails, yes, but if it fails, he wants a hand-picked person to do that. Now, the only way Gambia can avoid such things, self-perpetuation, have a 1-year term. If you want to extend it from 5, make it 6. If we vote for a bad person that we don't like, we deal with it, and we know that's the end of it. President Barrow or President Jammeh or President Barrow in their lifetimes cannot change the Gambian lot. It's impossible, but they will do their bit. But ñu ne suñ la tegalee ndab boo ko lekkee li laay bul ko ñiit lii mooy feebari African bi, not Barrow de, all our African leaders. And unfortunately, their thirst for power is what's deterring the collective good and our development. And I thought having a president who was outside of the political fray and the power structure coming in, he will feel how we felt as ordinary people. Why must na ko neex na bay na feebar bi nag duga na ko.
You know this question.
Yes,
Banky's suggestion or his calls for one-term presidency. I mean, it's important to you particularly because here you have your government which supposedly should have lasted for 3 years. But in any case, who had promised that it will, or the leader will not contest elections after his term finishes, whether it's 5 or 3, but you are preparing to contest again. He said, we don't necessarily need to follow President Barrow's promise and plan for the next 5 years. What we need is our own plan. Whoever comes can fill that. You think the idea of a 1 5-year term is rubbish?
No, it's not rubbish. I cannot just rubbish it. I can't. I mean, that's his agenda in his manifesto. It's a political party. I respect that. Any registered political party in this country, I give the political party.
I'm not a party. I'm just an independent.
I thought that he said that's the manifesto.
No, it's a movement.
Oh, okay.
But you are right. It's a party toward the debates.
Of course, because Mr. Jan just mentioned that they started with the trust. I don't know. His party started like that. Correct me if I am wrong. He said that's how they started and they transitioned to a political party. So what he is doing now, it is a process.
Yes.
It might, one day he might be a political.
No, he's already a party to the
It's a political actor.
It's a political
This
movement.
ideology are coming. This is how PDOIs came about. From 30 something years ago, they came with, they had an idea.
But what do you make of a one-term president?
That is too short for me. too short is, I mean, one term, it is difficult. The moment you take over from an older president, you are transitioning. That process alone, within the 5 years, you are transitioning. What was wrong, you have to correct that. Look at this present government. When President Barrow came, first what he had to deal with the National Assembly. National Assembly members were subjected to restrictions that you have to stay in the political party. Who elected you? Where you were elected, who sponsored you? We thought that was that what was wrong. I mean, for government, just to limit somebody, somehow to sanction you, to stay where you are, while the people want to move to an other better political party. It has been changed. Now the National Assembly members are free.
You see how self-serving that is? All the problems of the country, they reduced it to what fits a political player.
Is he the moderator or...
No, let's go ahead.
Now I think next time we bring Nyang Njie here to moderate.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, yes. You said
I'm just trying to tell him why I oppose this one term. Because of the job that is entailed in 5-year term. It's too much. Not only that, not only now freeing the National Assembly members and also the councillors within these 5 years. That's the job we are doing. Even the judges were curtailed certain number of age that you cannot serve. Now that is open. You see, can you do that? And at the same time, you have other things to do. Barrow, these 5 years will be finished. He cannot finish the correction that he wants to do. Look at the commission right now. Look at the TRRC. Still now they have not completed their job. We all know.
Okay. Good.
Not only TRR, the land commission, they have not touched it. We know the problem of the land in this urban area. We all know what we inherited, what President Barrow completed. If he say now, I'm just doing this thing for this 5 years, I'm going. Mr. Bankole come in, next president, also 5 years. He start with lands. He's going to end up with lands. Now the Gambian people will be crying with this problem for an order 20 to 50 years. That's what we want to eradicate. We want to make sure that if you come, you help people. Look at now the freedom of speech. First time, what was here. Now Barrow has, who will talk here now? Who will criticize President Adam Barrow and you go to mile 2? Nobody. No. Look, everything is correct. The media, everything. We commissions are all over. Now some people are in their bedroom, some are in their kitchen, and they call themselves journalists. Nobody is stopping.
Bedroom journalists.
Bedroom journalists. Nyang Njie and others now talk about his.
Oh, Nyang Njie is a bedroom journalist.
Now he's a bedroom.
But the laws haven't changed. The seditious laws are still there.
Analyst. He was here. Jamme was
bedroom. Where were you?
I just want to add something.
Yes.
What I want to add is when APP goes out politicking, we don't do the typical politician, what they do. You come to the village, I'm going to put a well for you. I'm going to put a market for you. I'm going to put a school. We don't do that. I think if you're in government, you have to look at the national agenda. If you need, you have to have a plan. You're going to put 1,000 schools. Make sure you plan those schools have enough teachers, enough desks, enough books and everything. We're going to put 1,000 wells, okay? We're going to put several thousands of meters of road, constructed road. You see, what you do is, what they do is they tell lies. First of all, they don't tell the villagers how they're going to do that. When I say here that we're going to export rice, I tell you why. I'm going to explain that, okay? Jawara's government had no plan B. The Taiwanese were giving them fertilizers. They were giving them even the seeds.
Was it Chinese or
Taiwan?
Because I don't have of Taiwan on the Jawara.
Yes, Taiwan. I went to Taiwan.
I think it was
I went to Taiwan.
Communist China.
No. I went to Taiwan. This is before 1970. This is before the PP government recognized mainland China. As no did Taiwan.
Taiwanese were here.
Yes, I went to Taiwan. You see, they were giving the fertilizers, even the seeds, the machinery, the expertise, and even fuel. And you know what was happening? Sometimes these depots with fuel, they're siphoning it, selling it, or giving it to people. So it's corruption. So there was no plan B. Listen, you tell me if you have a stranger in your compound, someone who's helping you. All right, he does everything. And you haven't learned his skill, what he was doing, or you haven't trained someone. When he leaves, what happened? There was no plan B. You see, so we know, and I'm going to reiterate, we know that if Gambia is able to export rice, and we can do it, we have the mighty river, our water table is very high. Why do we have to depend and spend millions of dollars to import food?
Right.
To us, that's very fundamental. First of all, it's going to guarantee a lot of foreign exchange. Another thing is our health, the Gambian health, the Gambian people's health, that there'll be enough money for us to install solar panels, so that all our street could be solar, everything.
Good.
You know, and then water is very bad. Let me just add this. The water system, I did a report recently. When I opened Lamin Health Center, volunteers coming, I just introduced them with a bottle of water. A week or two, they said, oh, we don't need it anymore. I said, why? You can't smell the chlorine in the water? This water is very safe. Now the water is very bad. So we are going backwards. Good. The quality of water is not as good as it used to be. And one of the reasons is, recent report said, from the source, the well is okay. But it's the piping. You drive around, see all these pipes out in the open. Yeah, you see them. They burst, and what happened when they burst down underwater? When the pressure goes down, that dirty water goes inside the pipes.
Yes, that's the problem. That's not. Well,
it's health. It's health.
Corruption, and that was our in the next 10 minutes. That's our discussion: corruption and the polarized nature of politics. I hope we can adjust that in the next 15 minutes. So, and the case comes to mind. You had the mayor sending the CEO on leave and the finance director, among others, for allegedly and illegally negotiating a loan of 12 million. The CEO fired back to say that the deputy mayor was also allegedly found or discussing corruption, and the CEO said that he shouldn't go alone. She wanted to resume duties. She was blocked, but apparently the Ministry of Local Governments through the Local Government Service Commission is backing her and even instructed her to go back to work. Of course, later it was said that they are going to investigate it. So, Mr. Mballow, let me begin by asking you: was the mayor right in sending the CEO and others on leave for this alleged corruption? And is the minister also right by trying to rescind the mayor's decision?
Well, I think this is a drama going on. Within the Carnifin Municipal Council, and the government, any responsible government, should take up the responsibility. We should not leave any municipality to be independent and do what, because when they are alleged, when there is a corruption, it's going to tarnish the image of the central government. This is what it's doing here. This is what is going on here. Okay. The Carnifin Municipal Council, there is an allegation, open allegation, counter allegation among themselves. We heard of the accountant, we heard of the CEO, we heard of the mayor, one accusing the other countering. That is what is happening there. Now the decision that the minister has taken, Minister of Local Government, that's the right decision. The local government ministry is in charge of the municipalities. And also there is an local government act that states that the ministry they oversee the municipalities and the councils. So therefore now this thing is happening. The corruption we receive so many audios right now. So many audios counter this thing, what happened, it's going to come out. What we are advising now for an independent commission into the KMC. Me personally, that's my opinion. If I were the advisor for the Minister of Local Government, I would advise him immediately to institute an independent commission of inquiry to investigate, rather than leaving this one, accusing this one, the other one countering, accusing the other one, siphon millions.
Everyone should be left to continue their work and investigate.
What? Because now the danger is if you let somebody go out, how are you going to get the information now? The other people might, even the possibility of other people planting something behind the order is there. Now, if he allowed the accountant or the CEO to go, why? I'm not saying that would happen, but the other people who are in the council, don't you think they can be able to manipulate some documents and also give it to people while the others are away? That's what we are trying to avoid. We want everybody to be given the right to defend yourself. You are here, I am here. If I am accused of corruption and you produce documents, we have the file. You cannot extract any document from the file because I'm present. But now if you send the other one away, the possibility of hiding some documents even is possible.
Mr. Nyang?
You
This
see?
is the way I see it.
Yeah.
You
What,
see?
very quickly.
Yeah.
Now,
We
this
want
is
to stop this corruption happening in that council.
Now, there are three things Mr. Mballow needs to understand. What we're suffering today is the lack of a constitution. Because the mayor is an elected officer, he is held accountable by the people who voted for him. The minister is an appointed individual. Therefore, devolution of power, that's what decentralization is all about. The mayor is accountable to the people who voted for him, not the minister. But unfortunately, we inherited a bad constitution, and we were hoping your government, your president would have championed so that today, if we had a good constitution, the constitution would have addressed this anomaly, number one. Number two, the reason why the minister of local government should not be the one spearheading this issue. If today the lady is found to be wanting and she wants to petition, she cannot petition the Minister of Local Government because it's the Minister of Local Government who instituted the investigation. So therefore, the investigation is backed by the minister who should have been an arbiter if the lady filed a petition. The best thing that should have been done is to allow audit office, external audit office, and the police to handle this matter, come up with a report. Then if the lady petitions the Minister of Local Government, he is a neutral party. But unfortunately, you need to understand public administration to understand that there should be equity.
The local government
but the local government act is already faulty.
What he's trying to say is that if the local government is responsible, they are the arbiter.
I know that's why he's saying that because of
the audit department, which is supposed to be independent, the police, which is also supposed to be independent, can go into the matter and come out with a report that will serve both the minister and whoever is accused, to determine what the next forward. But if now the minister is sanctioning investigations, if somebody is not satisfied with that, where do you go? Back to the minister?
That's what I'm saying. That he's sanctioning. Let them stay. Let them stay like they are. The minister is taking. The ministry. It's not only forget about the minister. The minister has a team of experts.
The police is already.
Every ministry has a team of experts.
It's the office.
But the police is already a competent authority. So the matter is with the police.
What I'm telling you is the police. We can do this concurrently. This investigation. Already, the moment the signal was out there that a corruption somebody has run. Somebody has siphoned 2 million, 3 million, whatever, and it was police were alerted. They started investigation. The other party also accused the accuser that you also took this amount. Now you cannot now the police. Can the police now do this thing left, right, and center? It is the responsibility of the minister to jump in and establish a commission whereby they will look at both where the fact is. That's what we are doing.
Let me conclude the last point here. If you were a seasoned public administrator, you should understand that there is what you call the general orders. And in the general orders, there is what you call interdiction. Interdiction gives you half salary. You go and stay home whilst the government look into the matter and come to a conclusion, logical conclusion, which gives you equity and protect the greater goods interest. You see the problem this government has, we have a lot of people who don't understand public administration because they have never taken the chance to even read the general orders or FI and yet still want to partake in the process of administering the country.
Let me tell you, all those people, permanent secretaries, what he is saying here is, Mr. Jai, let me tell you, that all those permanent secretaries...
But have you read the general orders?
Of course, I have it.
No, not having it. Do you understand the general orders?
Of course.
What does it say about interdiction?
Interdiction. Like suspending somebody.
No, it's not suspension.
No, let me tell you, you can when there is a problem, a civil servant like violating, talking to the social media, you will suspend something of that.
No, it's not suspension.
Of course, you can suspend the
Let's talk to Mr.
orders. I'm telling you this.
You
cannot dispute.
Very quickly, Mr. Jan.
It's more or less the same.
Mr. Jan, how would
you see the problem with Nyang Njie? He thinks he knows more than all
said that.
government experts. And he knows nothing.
I never said that.
He knows nothing. I'm telling you this.
Mr. Jan.
No,
we have expert.
Don't be annoyed. I never said that.
We have
I just
expert permanent
Let's hear
secretaries,
from Mr.
expert managing directors who are very au fait with the constitution, who are au fait with the general order, more than Nyang Njie.
I never said I'm an
First of all,
how would you have dealt with
First of all, let me just say one thing. I'm not surprised that what happened KMC. You see, local government administration is plagued with corruption and nepotism. During Jammeh's time, we found a lot of ghost employees at Birkama. Yeah. You know anyone living government employee now, you may be in the books for, you don't collect your salary because you don't know, but someone is siphoning that money, you're seeing mistake on the books for maybe a year, maybe. Ministry of Health tried to get this COVID money. They were ghost nibs. See, Gambian people, we have to be, we are dishonest. Yes. I mean, I can go on and on. That's why I say we need a cultural revolution in this country. Listen, to make it simple, you go to the market, the old lady at the market knocks the bottom of the pot to give you a false reading. How could that be? Ramadan of all months, when prices should go down. Why are we so greedy and we say Muslims, then something you bought 2, 3 months, 6 months ago, why do you jack up the price? You see, Jawara's time, Jawara even was I told a guy yesterday, I said, do you know Jawara, when he was, before he left London, he was being evicted because his house was on mortgage after 30 years of presidency? How many African presidents? Yeah. You see? Anyway, that's another story. But let me tell you one thing. I'm not surprised. There's no system to deal with transparency, no financial probity, and no accountability. So what do you expect? I went to a tour. Well, it was just a familiarization tour. I found a couple of seed stores. You know these seed stores that are, the roofs were gone. For 2 years, 3 years. An old man told me, I can't understand why area council cannot fix it. And he told me, a guy who was employed by the area council, okay, just 2 years, 3 years. He now has a Pajero, brand new, that he bought. He's building 2 big mansions, houses in his neighborhood. How do you get that money? I say, it's your tax money. So I tell you one thing. If APP comes to government, those poor farmers wouldn't pay tax. I tell you that. After 3 years, we'll make sure we put in the system, they don't pay tax until their standard of living goes up. Another thing I'm going to say, because I know we don't have much time, right? But I would have done what he has said. We'd have closed that office, independent inquiry to be established, independent, even if you're of the government. Independent of the government. They do that all over the world. You take all the computer, everything is computerized. You seal the office, put the security there. You know, so when no one enters, no everyone goes home, and you pay them. All of them, the whole council, the whole council.
To know what really went wrong.
So let me just add one thing. I know we're closing up. I want to say this is very important to me. I challenge. I've said it 30 times, maybe more. I challenge any person running for the presidency to say this. What I'm going to say. That is, when you are elected as president, give half of your salary back to the people. You've been paid too much.
He promised us.
President Barrow said he would give his salary.
But we're yet to see the statement.
He said it?
Yes, but we still didn't see the money.
Let him give half of his salary back to the people.
Well, he said it.
A state house consuming what, 150,000?
No, he said half of his salary he will give back to the state, but we're yet to know whether it has been done to date.
Yeah. Well,
did you make any effort to find out from the Minister of Finance?
You didn't hear what I said.
No, but you cannot just get up. Nyang Njie.
I said he said it.
You should know better.
I never said he did not.
Ask somebody.
Mr.
How I was trained, professional. You cannot just get up and
say
Mr.
things are known.
I said he
you know
said
how
it.
those things are known. How you know how those things are known? They are known when the State House release press releases or invite independent journalists to ask those questions.
But there are how many press conferences have been conducted, and how many? And you have access. You have access to the government spokesperson. You have access to the Minister of Information. He has been on radios. You have been hearing on West Coast radio. Did anybody take his or her time to ask the minister one time, so and so and so? Can we have any clarification? No. But you can. People have the gut to stand on WhatsApp, on social media, and say things that they cannot substantiate. This is what is
he said that. I never said he did not.
Finally, Banky, how would you have tackled the KMC problem?
The KMC problem, I think, is like the structures are not there. I'm calling for digital Gambia because I think all this paper business is helping to make that thing continue. If we had electronic records, we would have gotten to the bottom of we could have maybe even prevented that from happening. And that's the kind of thing I'm calling for in digital Gambia. Otherwise, I mean, if people were not angry with each other, maybe this would never have been exposed. I mean, if there's one allegation and then the other one is also accusing this one that you took money. If we were friends still, it would never have happened, and still people would be poor. Like money that should have gone to places for something useful has gone into the pockets of some individuals. So let's stop it even from happening. And if we can't stop it there, let's keep a permanent record that is easily searchable.
Would you have suspended anybody or perhaps involved the police?
I believe we should strengthen institutions. I'm not trying to, again, that still makes the individual the center of power. I think we should have institutions that can outlive individuals. So let's strengthen the existing institutions and empower them adequately for them to be able to handle these things, regardless of whether it's Banki that's there or Mr. Jagne or Mr. Barrow or anybody else.
Right. Thank you very much.
Closing up?
Yes, we are
Any
closing
final
up.
statement?
Yes.
My biggest worry is not whether I win or I lost or I lose. My biggest worry is we're going to an election that I believe every Gambian, whether in the diaspora or in the country, must vote. This is the most important election in the Gambian history. Do you know why? We have a constitution that is dictatorial. And anyone, God help us, anyone assuming the presidency can continue the dictatorship. Especially if he has a house or if he has a dictatorial tendency. You know, it's there. There's nothing to stop him. Okay. To me, that's my headache. It's not my headache if I win or not. Let the Gambians be aware that we are going to an election with a constitution that's dictatorial. And anyone who wins could be a dictator, just like Jammeh. Nothing can stop him.
I have a closing statement. Yes.
1 minute.
I think Gambia won last week. The debate between Dr. Cisse and Halifa, the marketplace of ideas have opened. And I called the President of the Republic to show leadership by wanting to engage in public discourse with his peers, i.e. the aspirants.
Yes.
We want the issues not to be personal, but issues that affect the lives, the bread and butter of the Gambian. So, what we want, if Gambia cannot establish a national debate commission which will force people to come and debate this, we want him to come out and say, I want to discuss what I want for the people, not in a monologue, but a dialogue with people who want to do the same.
Mr. Mballow, would you advise him?
Yes, I will not, depending on the timing. President has a lot of, the president.
This is important to the public.
It's a transitional president. Transitional president.
Oh, yeah.
You have confused yourself.
It's a transitional president. He has a lot of things on hands. If he has the time, he would do it. Otherwise, he has the people who can represent him.
Mr. Cham,
That's what
he said the president needs to build roads. We were talking about the failed transition. He said he was not elected for that.
You
are talking two things.
We have a very successful transition.
Thank you very much. Mballow is the presidential advisor and he is also a member of the National People's Party, NPP. Thank you very much for coming here. Nyang Njie is here. He was our analyst in the studio. And we have the leader of the All People's Party, Dr. Biran Jagne. And then, of course, Bankole Yao Ahadzie, who was with us here with his Watu TJ movement. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being on the brunch. I'm Lamin. Wishing you all a very happy weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll use my email.
Okay.
Gamcell data, now even better. Enjoy 20% extra data on all Gamcell data bundles. Buy 20 megabytes and get extra 4 megabytes. Buy 50 megabytes and get extra 10 megabytes. Buy 100 megabytes and get extra 20 megabytes. Any amount of Gamcell data bundle you buy, you will receive 20% extra data for free. Dial *302* data amount hash or go to your Yaiborom menu and choose your data bundle now. Gamcell data is fast, lasts longer and very reliable. Gamcell Yaiborom.
For all your pastry, bakery and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European and even beyond. come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe, and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.